Well, I'm used to saying that INFJs are primarily introjective people, which is to say that they take in what others project into them rather than project contents that's inside them for others to take in. To some extent, this is just being an introvert, an introverted type, but I think that being an introverted type with a P function, that is to say a function of introverted perception which is inferior, makes it all the more likely that you'll be introjective. Not to mention that on top of that, this kind of introverts that the INFJ is has FE as an auxiliary, and one of the main differences between FE dominance and FE auxiliary, which is not often talked about, maybe I'm the only one who talks about this, is that FE dominance tends to be projective, whereas FE auxiliary tends to be introjective. Again, because FE auxiliary is subservient to an introverted dominant function. And so it's colored, like the auxiliary function that is FE when it is auxiliary is always colored by a broader texture of introversion. And it tends to make the FE function introjective, which brings with it all the challenges of having to deal with the tribe and what the tribe thinks, what the tribe validates, how can the tribe be harmonized, how can I carve my own path, assert my own individuality in the midst of a tribe whose imagined opinion, because we never know the actual opinion of the tribe, influences me, has sway over me at some level, and I have to reckon with that. That's a quality of introjective FE, and INFJs are introjective in that way. Now the funny thing is, INFJs can also be projective, but what they project usually is not the FE function. What they project is perception, and it's interesting that they project perception because well, you might not believe that that's credible. Like, how could they project inferior SE? They project inferior SE precisely because they're primarily introjective people, and so what's less familiar to them, namely projection, is something that they have less control over, if you like. INFJs are good at introjecting. They can regulate introjection if they do self-work and are, willing to grow. Introjection does not mean unhealth. It can be extremely, it can be very much a source of health. It can be extremely fruitful as well. I mean, that's empathy. The basis of empathy is introjection, not projection. But projection is not something that INFJs are good at. But if you're not good at projection, that does not mean that you don't do projection. And INFJs do projection. Usually perception is projected in not so expert and adroit a manner. And the way that you see this is often when INFJs are disappointed in someone, either a friend or potential romantic interest. What you'll often see is that it's not so much that they had idealized the person and are now devaluing the person once the idealized person turned out to be just human and has faults, basically. It's more so that because SE is always very much brought into the world through the regulation of the NI function, and NI is essentially a temporal and a narrative function. SE always comes with a narrative given by NI, and the way that the world is encountered and the way other people are encountered is always through a narrative. So these people are fit within a particular narrative that makes its own kind of sense. And when people turn out to not really fit that narrative, not only because they're fallible, but because everyone is kind of following the unfolding narrative of their own lives, that can jar against the narrative supplied by NI. But it jars all the more because there's always an element of projection that happened, which is why And it's an SE kind of projection where the person started to be seen according to that particular narrative. So it's jarring precisely because the projection targeted the person, narrativized the person, and then introjected it back into the INFJ. And that can make it jarring, and it's happened to all of us. You know, you have no idea how many times I have done this myself. I'm certainly the author of numerous projections towards my life. Sometimes the projection is very positive, but sometimes it can lead to disappointment or the jarring of your NI compass. You know, so introjection is the dominance in our lives. Basis of great empathy, but it's never completely separated from projection. And what you introject, often you project it first. So keep that in mind, okay? Give me a like if you enjoyed this vid, guys. Don't forget, I've written 2 books on the INFJ, the latest one being The Infinite Soul and INFJ Life in a Modern World. It's helped a lot of people. Check the link below. The title is obviously self-explanatory. It's about INFJs in the world. It's the sequel to this first book, The Ecstatic Soul, which is all about the INFJ mind, a new look at the INFJ personality. It's the deepest investigation of the type that you'll find online. Check the reviews, check the link below. And as usual, guys, don't forget that the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page. I'd be so grateful if you consider supporting me. You get access to cool perks like the Discord server, the Fourfold, as well as a bonus video every 2-3 weeks on a topic of your choosing. So hopefully see you on Patreon, and talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.